All right, we're at the point now where we're going to recreate this base sketch, and we're going to fully define it um, so that we can narrow it or expand the vase while keeping the same outer curve. Cool. So I'm just going to open up a new sketch here. Create sketch. You've seen this a few times now. We're going to sketch on our front plane. And the first thing I'll do is come up to fit point spline, and I'm going to create the general curve that I'd like to see. Click OK to get out of the function. I'll show that real quick. So if you're in a function, okay, we've made our deal. We're still in the spline tool. To exit out, I can right click and click OK. It's a really effective way of getting out of any tool. I can also click OK down here. I can also click Escape on my keyboard to get out of the tool. So there's a lot of different ways to get out of it. What's really cool is if I right click, the very top option on my wheel here, the very top option is always going to be the last tool that you used. So whether it's the extrude tool, whether it's some, and that would be outside of sketch mode, or if you're in sketch mode, if it was a circle or a fillet or trimming or a constraint, doesn't matter what it is, the last thing that you used, if you right click, it's going to be the top option. Another little trick, and I think, yeah, interesting. So if I right click, I can either click and pull to highlight this. I can right click and click repeat. I can just click on the option, or I can click anywhere in this blue highlighted region and it's automatically going to select it for me. So you don't have to be super precise about clicking on this option. You can just like that and you're in the spot. All right, so we've made that. We're going to go ahead and close our sketch. Sorry, by close, I mean close the profile. And like we did with the last one, the first dimension, or the last few examples we've done, we're going to first dimension the base. Then we're going to dimension the horizontal and the vertical components of our spline points with respect to the bottom of our spline. So that as we shift this curve, it stays fixed to itself, or the shape remains the same. All right, so this should be pretty familiar by now. And I'm going to try and make this as nice looking as I can. It's going to get pretty gnarly, hard to follow. Okay, so there's the, oh, it snapped to the wrong thing. I need to delete this. There, that's what I want. Okay, and we have one more point, the top point here. And this curve here isn't the exact same as the vase, I started with. If we wanted to, we could create the exact same sketch here, but just for the sake of time, we'll leave it as it is, and we'll say we want to maintain this outer shape. So we have defined all the horizontal components that we needed to, and all the vertical components we needed to for this spline. And now we have to go in and define the handles. But first, let's verify that if we change this, well, no, we have to dimension the handles first. The curve does stay the same, but the handles aren't fixed yet, which we need to do that. So starting with the top handle and working our way down, we're going to define each angle first. Wait. Timer. This thing's not snapping to the right. There we go. Click on our handle. Handle. Finally, the bottom. Okay, and then again, top down, we're going to define the magnitude of our handles. Remember the magnitude, not just the vertical and not just the horizontal components. We want the magnitude, which is the parallel line. And I'm pretty happy with the cleanliness of the sketch. I'm going to click and drag these out so that we can see their value. But like all in all, we can see everything pretty darn well. Might move this out, move this up. So if we wanted to look at, say, like a particular point, let's pick this point. We can clearly see, well, we can clearly see that it's 30 millimeters above the bottom of our spline, and it is, if we follow this up, 15 millimeters to the left of the bottom of our spline. It's got a magnitude of 16.347 in its handle, and it's 58.3 degrees above the positive X axis. So at any rate, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's go ahead and finish our sketch. Click revolve. You've seen this a few times now, so I'm just going to click OK. Clicking a little faster. Shell. We've clicked our top face, 2 millimeters, and we've got a vase. Oh, this vase is too big. Let's go back. Let's edit. Profile sketch. Let's make it thinner and all great. We've maintained our shape. That's perfect. Like it. Oh man, I want to fill it down here, but I want the edge walls to be uniform or consistent through the outside fillet. So I can't add a fillet here, because if I do, let's say I add a 2 millimeter fillet, well, let's say 5 millimeter. This edge is at a 5 millimeter radius, while the interior edge is a sharp edge, because we did the shell before we added the fillet. We need to do it in the reverse order. So I'm going to delete the fillet down in my timeline. And here's what's really cool. You can click and drag this cursor here to go before the fillet, right? Or sorry, before the shell. And then you can actually insert new modifications before, right where this cursor is at on our timeline. So if I click on the fillet tool, right before I'm still before the shell, and I add my 5 millimeter radius, you see that it inserts here before our shell. The shell is still invisible, so we have to move our cursor forward again. And what we should see is that now a fillet's been added to the interior wall to keep that uniform wall thickness as through the shell command. Great. That's awesome. And then if we wanted to copy the original vase that we looked at, we would also add some fillets to the top. Cool. We are pretty much done. I am going to do one more video that will take this yet a step further, and it's actually pretty challenging, or actually it takes a little bit more thought in that so far we have defined a curve to be independent of the base component or the base dimension of the vase. But now we want to maintain that same curve through the height as well. So if we wanted to say scale this so that its height is twice, as tall as it is now, how can we get the same, aesthetically, the same shape or the same curve while just changing the height? That's going to be the problem we're going to solve in the next video.